Our passage today is from Luke chapter 7, verses 36 to 50. You've heard me share before that if an event is described or included in all four Gospels, it's probably a very significant event, and it also, just from a historical or detective standpoint, the validity or veracity of something, if all four Gospel writers share it, it's probably pretty significant. And that's the case with today's passage, which involves Jesus being in the home of a Pharisee and a woman coming in and anointing Jesus. Now, in Luke's version, we're told that it's one of the Pharisees who invites him to dinner, and we're told in verse 37 that it's a woman of the city who was a sinner, who learned that Jesus was there, and she brought an alabaster jar of ointment, stood behind him at his feet, weeping, bathing his feet with her tears, drying them with her hair. This is a very personal, obviously scandalous kind of thing. I would use the analogy, can you imagine if I was preaching some Sunday morning and a woman came down to the front of the sanctuary, took off my socks and shoes, and started putting ointment on my feet and weeping and drying my feet with her hair. Can you see how that might cause some level of discomfort in the congregation? Now, this is in a house and not in a sanctuary, but I think the point is the same. This is not a typical occurrence. And the Pharisee who was hosting this meal, he said to himself, so the only way we know this is Jesus must have shared it, or the man shared it afterward. If this man were a prophet, he would have known who and what kind of woman this is who is touching him, that she is a sinner. And then Jesus, knowing his thoughts, tells a story about two people who are both in debt and have their debts forgiven. And Simon answers correctly that the one who would love him more is the one who had the greater debt forgiven. And then Jesus answers in verse 44. Then turning toward the woman, he said to Simon, "Do you see this woman? I entered your house. You gave me no water for my feet, but she has bathed my feet with her tears and dried them with her hair." And he goes on to describe how she kissed him and he did not, how he didn't anoint his head with oil, she's anointed his feet. And he goes on to say that what she has done will be told in memory of her, and that is true. She's in all four Gospels. But the kernel of truth I really want to leave with you today is Jesus' question, do you see this woman? The Pharisee was seeing a type of person. He was generalizing. He was stereotyping. He was making assumptions that reflected poorly on him. Jesus is telling all of us we should never judge people by a group. We shouldn't talk about people as if they are a type of person. We are to see this woman, this man, and to see them as an individual who is beloved by God.